This is Theodore at Lies the Devil. We're at the front line in spiritual warfare. I'm getting so sick of these Gnostics. I'm getting so sick of these people that are fooling you. This is 100% definitive proof of Paul Young admitting that he is not a Christian and that he is a universalist and he believes that God will save everybody, and he's just lying to you people. Everybody that says that, oh, it's just a fiction story or it's just a movie, it's not theology, lie. These people are hijacking Christianity from within. And when I get ready to show you this, Kobe Lance, a brother in the Lord, brought it to my attention, okay? He brought this to my attention, and it is so damning. Anybody that still makes excuses for these people after I show you this clip, you're a liar, you won't admit that you got conned, or you're a Gnostic yourself because you have those type of sympathies. And you're not a Christian. You're an antichrist.
DeYoung is a gem, and I've interviewed him on numerous occasions. I met with him a month after I actually went and heard and then confronted Paul Young personally when I was in Portland, Oregon back in 2008 in October. But the next month I went back to Portland. I had heard of Dr. DeYoung, and we got together. I had a wonderful evening sitting at their kitchen table, getting to know each other and recording our thoughts and so on. And he told me at the time that Paul Young had been a part of a forum, think tank, if you will, that he had helped to found with Dr. DeYoung. There had been 10 or 12 people in it, and they would meet monthly, and they would discuss different issues that were going on, theological.
So Paul Young figures out a way to get into a think tank, at a Christian think tank, because the guy, he does sound very smart, okay? Psychopaths lie to you. He's a psychopath. Paul Young's a psychopath. I'm going to show you that. So he figures out a way to get into a Christian think tank, okay? And as he's trying to hijack the Christian think tank, he comes out at the last minute when they're pursuing Christian theological issues and trying to, get Christianity to get more involved in culture, et cetera, et cetera. He comes out at the last minute and says that he's a universalist, and everybody was shocked. Everybody was shocked. Because they're like, wow, we had this Luciferian in our midst the whole time.
Issues inside of Christianity. And Paul Young, it was his turn to present one month, back in 2004 this was, before the Shack was written, and he presented them a paper, 103-page single space. That's big enough for a 220 or 30-page book, folks. 103-page single space paper declaring that he was abandoning his evangelical paradigm, that's his words, and he was accepting the idea and now going to teach the idea of universal salvation.
I'm going to tell you something right now. The more the ministry grows, I'm going to come out full force on this specific individual, okay? He would write paragraphs after paragraph, just psychobabble, to try to manipulate his family into breaking the law for him. Okay? He would manipulate people. He just manipulates people to try to get them to break the law for him, to swindle people out of their money, the whole 9 yards. And I think you guys know who I'm talking about. At some point, I will come out big time. But right now, just patience, okay? Go after them. I implore you. I am on your side. Okay, these people that know what I'm talking about. He would literally inundate people with just psychobabble, okay? That's what Paul Young did. The guy, instead of just coming out and saying, I'm a Gnostic, I'm here to hijack Christianity, okay? Instead of just coming out and saying that, he writes a 100-page, 230 pages of just crap. When he could simply just said, I'm a Gnostic, okay? I fooled you guys. All right, this book, they come after you in waves. They come after you in waves of propaganda and waves. It's just like tidal waves. I look at the shore, okay? You go to a beach, you look at the shore, you see the waves coming and hitting the shore, okay? That's basically how this world works with propaganda and news, okay? The Celestine prophecy and adventure by this universalist or whatever the case being, I'm just going to read you a few parts in here, okay? You see it was all about getting close to nature and becoming one with nature and one with God. Okay, the back of it says that This has been passed down from hand to hand, from friend to friend, from family member to family member. The Celestine prophecy is a work that has come to light at a time when the world deeply needs its words. Isn't that the Shack? Wasn't that what the Shack was about? Okay, the Shack was literally this book wrapped up in this quote-unquote Christian Trinity God. That's basically all it was. It was just a new wave of propaganda. You see, my father, this is page 144 of the Celestine prophecy. Yes, you see, my father stood for accomplishment. He was very goal-oriented. He planned his time to the minute and judged himself according to how much he got done. My mother was very intuitive and mystical. She believed that each of us received spiritual guidance and that life was about following this direction. That's called the Kabbalah. That's called that God is male and female. Okay? You have the carpenter, Jesus Christ, the worker, the workhorse, okay? Then you have the mama papa figure who is all about spiritual guidance. I want to lead you to me. And not all roads lead to me, basically, okay? Next page, 142. His mom, talking in this book, his mom held that life was about reaching an inner enlightenment, a higher consciousness marked by peace of mind and detachment from the things of the world. According to her, life was not about perfection. It was about letting go of the need to perfect anything to go anywhere. Can you see where this left Will? You know, it's the same thing. It's the same bullcrap. The Shack right here. Those who love me come from every system that exists. They were Buddhists or Mormons, Baptists or Muslims, Democrats, Republicans, and many who don't vote or not part of my Sunday morning or religious institutions. I have followers who are murderers and many were self-righteous. Some are bankers and bookies. Most roads don't lead anywhere. I am so sick and tired of this stuff. I am so sick and tired of it. I'm going to show you a clip from the movie, from the documentary, The Shack, the 40-minute version, the free version online. I'm going to show you, he basically admits that he's a psychopath and that he could be anybody at any time to anybody, anywhere. And that it wasn't until his wife was figuring out that he was a psychopath that he created this character, Mac, and latched onto that character and perfected his sociopathic tendencies. This is what they do. They pay attention to what's going on in the real world, these false prophets. They find out what people like. They make a grandiose self-image of themselves. They become super charming. And every single time they find somebody that finds they puncture their little personality. They find weaknesses in their personality. They learn from it and become even better psychopaths. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so tired of this stuff. And I'm getting so tired of people being led astray by what they would call these Christian pastors out there that are promoting this nonsense. If they're still promoting this stuff, knowing the trash that it's promoting, knowing the trash that's out there, there's something very wrong, okay? And if you're not sounding the alarm, I will at some point. I'm going to come after this guy hard, okay? There's a lot of these people, but one specifically that everybody thinks is just this awesome martyr for the faith. He went to jail for speaking the truth. No, he went to jail because he's lying to you. And he's just perfecting his lies and his psychopathic tendencies. I'm going to show you right now, this is who Paul Young, as a psychopath.
The facade was my presentation to the world, and I was a different.
Hold on, let it load here for a second. I'm sorry for getting so worked up, people, but you know, it's just like it's like what Christ says. He sees his sheepfold.
But the thing about a facade is you can paint it as fast as you can pick up people's expectations. And so I became a different thing in every different situation. It didn't protect me from the secrets.
He's teaching you how to become a psychopath. TBN is promoting a psychopath because they're probably full of a bunch of psychopaths, a Trinity Broadcasting Network, okay? These people do not care.
The facade was my presentation to the world, and I was a different thing depending on what audience was in front of me.
Before writing The Shack, Paul Young took seminary classes and got married. After getting married, his wife started finding flaws in his personality.
Kim and I both agree that she kind of got blinded somehow because...
Did you hear that? Kim and I both agree. She got blinded somehow. Finding out he was a psychopath, she got blinded somehow. It's never about owning up to your problems. It's always about projecting it onto other people. And so this guy literally is putting his wife out there saying, she got blinded about my psychopathic tendencies somehow. Somehow. I don't know if it was because I was fooling her or what. But I wrote the character to Shaq Mac, and that's my new personality now, and everything's kosher. My wife's got all the money in the world. You know, we don't speak to each other. We don't have a relationship. You know, I'm constantly out there fooling people at shows and, you know, conventions and stuff like that. I mean, these people are trash. I cannot believe this stuff is going on in the world. And people are still, the designer for the Shack, the guy who designed the cover book of the Shack, came out and said, I was duped. I fell into Universalism. I thank God he pulled me back from it. How many people do you know are teaching good biblical truths? They quote unquote save people, open their eyes up, and then suddenly twist their theology and led all those people that they led them astray. How many people do you think have done that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Got a great crap detector. She should have picked up my stuff from a mile away, right? So we end up getting married, and I'm immediately suicidal. I mean,
the guy is a
suicidal.
creep.
She had no clue. Because now I got a person who's living with me who is constantly poking holes down through my little thin layer of perfectionist performance.
Now, this performance that I'm showing you here, his act, this is like when he first wrote the book in 2005. Fast forward 10 years from now, and he's like perfected his act. Now he's on TBN doing the same thing about my perfectionist performance. I'm a nobody. Papa! You know, and it's just like anybody that has a memory, anybody that's watching the Shack, people go get the Shack 90-minute version. Wake up your pastors, buy this $12. Take it to your pastors, watch it at church night. Okay? It shows you just how insane the world has gotten. And Christians are accepting witchcraft. You get it for $12, call me, or go online and get it, okay? It'll wake people up.
I had this thin layer of perfectionist performance that covered up this ocean of shame. And I was hoping if I could just do this right, if I could just perform perfectly, maybe one day I could become a real boy.
Like Pinocchio.
I want to tell you something that shame does.
Watch the documentary. It's 40 minutes long. He literally stomps on his tail. He becomes he tells you he's a psychopath. He's teaching everybody else in congregations and conventions how to become a psychopath. And he perfected his act, his crying, all that. And I know people will say, he's such a nice man. Paul Young is such a nice man. Look at him. He would want to hurt a fly. They are violent in the back of their minds. They try to hijack Christianity from within. He blended himself in so well, he fooled Christian pastors at a think tank forum, and then at the last minute wrote a big paper to try to persuade other people in his direction that he's a universalist. I'm going to cut this short. I'm going to give you just a little bit as to who a psychopath is and what to watch out for, okay? I've done Bible studies on what a false prophet is, a psychopath, okay? Find out what the Kabbalah is. Find out what the Kabbalah is. You guys would be astounded. Here are the listed traits of a psychopath. Now, when I read this to you, really think about what I'm reading to you. It'll ring a bell. Superficial charm. How many people do you know in reality? How many people do you know are constantly charming, constantly wanting to butter you up? How many do you know? Okay, they have a tendency to be smooth, engaging, charming, slick, and verbally facile. Psychopathic charm is not the least. Shy, self-conscious, or afraid to say anything. Grandiose self-worth. They're constantly, I'm a martyr. Look what I did for the faith. Constantly. Need for stimulation or proneness to boredom. Pathological lying. Conning and manipulativeness. Lack of remorse or guilt. Shallow affect. Oh, I can't wait. I've met a psychopath within the last... I've met so many of them. Especially... Baby, I've met so many of them. You would not believe it. You will find out who these people really are when you get to know them. For the people that watch this that know what's going on, and I know you're watching it, okay? expose the truth. Keep going. Dig in. You're right about who these people are. Deep down in your soul, okay, your conscience, your actual conscience, not the Jesus Christ false conscience, your conscience, your common sense, you know who these people are, and it is your duty to put them out there and expose their evil. Paul Young is a heretic. When I think of the guy, I'm sorry, I know that in a lot of ways, I just can't I hate the way people are being duped. I hate it. I hate it. And he's just a precursor. There's so many other people that are layered behind him that are in Christian ministries and pastors in churches or whatever the case being. It's just like, I can't, it boggles my mind.